Well, YouTube, what the freak is going on? Or, sorry, I even messed up my own line. What the crap is going on? This is Heir of Carthage. I'm going to bring you some more Shogun 2 online commentary, and there's going to be a few things that we're going to cover in this battle. I've had some requests on Twitter, as well as other places, for me to explain a little bit about upgrading your avatar, and I've also had some requests to cover the Saints and Heroes, or whatever it's called, DLC that just came out. And also, I'm sure you all are looking for some more online action, so I'm going to try and bring you those things. So let's get started by going through a little bit of avatar discussion. So I am not the pro at this. In fact, if you all can't tell, just because I'm having a hard time like keeping up putting out videos, I don't spend hours and hours on Shogun 2 like I used to. So I'm definitely not very up to date with, maybe some of the best strategies and stuff with the game. I can explain what I've done and why I like it, and then if anybody has any comments or anything, you can feel free to add it in. But I'll go and show you my skills tree for Patchy. The way I have Patchy set up is he's a leadership general with some melee statistics. And the reason I've done that is because I want his leadership abilities, but I also want him to be able to defend himself for a short period of time against certain units, and also in low funds battles, these upgrades to your general will be quite valuable. So you can see I've left out the scare enemies because it's never really worked or had any real effect, so it's really just a waste of 2 upgrade points. So in the leadership tree, that's the only advice I would give you, is leave out the whole scare enemies thing because it really doesn't do anything. I do believe that they have nerfed well, no, obviously they haven't increased or nerfed the increased army morale. This is a huge bonus to leadership armies, this +2 morale. That's something that really kind of dwarfs a lot of the bonuses given to you by the other trees. And I kind of thought that they would rebalance this a little bit, but the only thing that they really rebalanced was stand and fight. And what they did was they nerfed some of the statistics of stand and fight, and they also made it to where you couldn't just go in and out of stand and fight really easily. There's now a wait period. So they nerfed the leadership general a little bit back in the day when they changed that, but still not really. So, however, I would think that you could use a bow general or a melee general fairly effectively against Fall of the Samurai armies. And if you upgraded your men right, you could make up for the morale difference by choosing your soldiers properly. So I'm not going to say that a bow or a melee general is completely unviable. I just think that a leadership general is probably the easiest one, unless you're looking to specialize in one of the others. And then you're going to want to take time to upgrade your units appropriately. Hopefully this gives you a little bit of idea of how I upgrade my avatar. There's lots of different ways you can do it. You might want to look around and just kind of see what people are up to. That's the way I do it. Like I said, I hope it's helpful. Let's take a look at the Fall of Samurai avatars real quick. I haven't messed around with the Fall of the Samurai avatars near as much, but I'll show you what I have done. So we'll pull up old Pastor Cogburn here, and I will show you his tree. Now he is a gunpowder mastery tree, and basically the only thing that I have left remaining is to put on Gunbate, and this will, of course, increase the stats of my units for a short period of time. You can see that I've upgraded him to kind of basically leave out a lot of the naval boosts just because I don't think they make a whole lot of difference. I've focused him on land battles. I've increased the range so that he's a long-range unit, and just different things like that, the ammunition, accuracy of my troops, blah, blah, blah. The command tree is pretty helpful in the fact that it gives your guys increased morale and scouting ability, so it's really hard for people to sneak attack you if you've upgraded all these scouting things. And also you get to see the deployment of your opponent without using a retainer, which is really darn helpful. The downside is, because now keep in mind these accuracy boosts are minimal. I think it's like +4 to accuracy and reload, so these things are pretty minimal. The difference is the ammunition. Your guys can run out of ammunition very quickly. In the leadership tree, I don't know if they've fixed it. There is a retainer that helps increase your ammunition, but that retainer was broken back in the day, and I don't know if they've ever fixed it. I've not much messed with the Bushido avatar. I'm sure that it would be fun, but it obviously increases the melee attack and defense of your army as well as your avatar. And of course the big main power that it has down here is Heroic Assault, which just adds to speed, morale, and stamina, which the morale is helpful. Speed and stamina is kind of pointless, to be honest, because I'm guessing that it's not enough to really make a difference. They really should have added to attack and all kinds of stuff there. Gunbate is kind of something that you would have almost expected the Bushido avatar to have, but they don't. Bombardment, of course, is the naval bombardment that can be used by the command general. I don't think it's the greatest thing ever, but in any case, Last man standing is kind of helpful when you're using Bushido because it just means that your avatar is always going to be the last man standing and his bodyguard, so that's usually helpful too. Anyway, this increases basically the speed and stamina of your troops as far as the Bushido tree goes. Anyway, hopefully that gives you all a little bit of an idea then on the avatar upgrades. So let's go talk about the new DLC units. We're going to have to go back. They are Sengoku era only, which means that they were DLC for the original Shogun 2 and not the Fall of the Samurai expansion. I will show them to you. I have not upgraded them yet, and I've only used a couple of them in battle. I have not used all of them. But we'll check it out. So basically what they did was release some hero units for the game. And, you know, these are not, I don't think, going to be like decisive units in every battle, but they're going to be interesting. So let's take a look at them. Right here we've got the, it looks like a bow cavalry. You can see that they have 200 range, so that's going to be pretty deadly. However, I'm guessing they only have like 30 men, maybe 15 men. They've got a pretty solid melee attack. However, they have no bonus versus cavalry, which means that they would be very weak to other cavalry, but pretty good on a quick melee charge against swords and or bows and matchlocks. Their armor is 8, which means they're pretty darn heavily armored, and their reload and accuracy is off the charts. So the biggest thing that's probably going to hold this unit back is the size of it. It seems like horse archer units with small size tend to do very little damage, which is one of the reasons why I don't use a bow avatar. But I haven't gotten to test these guys a whole lot, so the range is going to be their obvious advantage right there. This next unit is the Spears of the Shizugetake. I probably can't pronounce that right. It looks like a very powerful cavalry unit. I'm not sure of the exact unit size on all of these. I have not used them all. I'm trying to, whoops, hit the wrong button. Let's get back in there. Yeah, I have not used them all. I know that some of the units that I used were the smaller unit size as far as like a hero goes. They had like 30 men. So I'm guessing that that's the case with these. I'm guessing with a 40 morale unit, there's no way that that's any more than 30 men, and it may be even less than that. So this just looks like a powerful sword unit. This one looks like a katana cav hero, which is pretty interesting. So they start off with a huge charge bonus, big melee defense, big melee attack, huge morale. I'm sure that, again, their numbers are reduced, but you can see there is no bonus versus cav, just like original katana cav, so that is going to be their weakness, is going to be, you know, other cav units. Looks like we've got a matchlock hero unit here. This is pretty interesting. I do not know if they carry any type of special matchlock, but I can see that their accuracy is very high. Their range is 125 and can likely be upgraded to 150. Their melee attack is very high, and their morale is also very high, and they also have high armor. So these guys could be a danger to archers. However, once again, I'm assuming that their numbers are going to be quite low, which is going to be the balancing factor. Interesting unit, though. We'll have to try that one out. Like I said, I do not know if they carry a special matchlock like the heavy gunner, but we'll see. It looks like we have a ninja hero unit, which is pretty freaking cool. I can't wait to use these guys. This appears to be a Kisho ninja unit, and it looks like that, of course, they're going to have high melee attack. Looks like decent armor. They're going to have ninja bombs. So it looks like a hero ninja unit. Very cool unit indeed. Interesting. So it's called Hanzo's Shadows. I'm guessing named after Hattori Hanzo, possibly. Yeah, but anyway, some of these are probably just more curious as far as just the looks of it and stuff. Like I said, I don't expect them to play like a massive role in changing the play of the game. There's a few more units. You've got this one right here, which is Benkei's Blades. I honestly don't get these guys. They've got a mediocre charge bonus, mediocre attack. They have a bonus versus cav and high armor. I mean, these guys would almost serve better as an anti-cavalry unit than they would anything else, because with that only on a 18 melee attack, these guys are going to get trashed by swords. So I would not use these guys against sword units of any type. They may be good against a Naginata unit. I wouldn't use them against Naginata monks, even though. So, I mean, it's hard to say what these guys are going to be good at, but I would think more so at defending against cav. The problem is with these tiny units, defending against cav can be rather difficult because they can't spread out very much. This next unit is a heroine unit, so very cool indeed. It's kind of like a warrior nun unit, high stats, good bonus versus cav, except these ones have a lot of armor. I've noticed that a lot of these hero units carry high armor, which means they're going to be very resistant to missile fire. And that's going to make them a little more potent, I think. So, like I said, this unit right here, pretty resistant to missile fire. It's a pretty good all-around unit, but once again, I think would be in danger getting it involved with a good sword unit. And then if you look right here, we've got Saigon Swordmasters. Sorry, I may not be pronouncing these right. So you can see that this is a very high attack unit, very high charge, pretty good armor rating. So these are going to be guys that you would want to get them into a fight with units like Naginatas, Yaris. If you got them into a fight with those type of units, they would do extraordinarily well, because this attack differential that you can see right here, the 30 versus say a 13 on my Naginata Samurai, that's a huge differential. And the bigger that differential is, the quicker they'll take down enemy units. If you put them up against a really good sword unit, which I don't have like a lot of really great ones, but I think I've got one right here, 22 attack as opposed to 30. You can see that, I mean, that's, other than winning the charge and having a little bit higher attack, these guys would get pretty torn up in a fight against good sword units. So once again, I'm thinking these units would be most useful against spears. And so if someone's bringing a spear-heavy army, these guys might be handy at breaking some of those. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't gotten to use them a whole lot yet, so I can only give you limited knowledge. The last unit right here is this Tetsubo Warrior unit, and you can see it has 10 armor from the get-go. So these guys are like tanks, very high attack, decent charge bonus, pretty good defense, no bonus versus cav. So these guys are going to be, you know, really hard hitters in a melee fight. And with 10 armor, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in almost any fight. And they also have the Warcry ability. Some of these other troops, like the Sword Masters, they have the Bonsai ability. So some of these units have special abilities that can be used as well. In any case, that's a quick description of the Saints and Heroes pack. Let's go ahead and play a battle, and I will bring you some live footage here. Hopefully you all don't mind the live footage. I've gotten matched up against some tough players tonight. I think I've lost 1 and won 3. I've played a few matches trying to use a few of these hero units. So, I mean, I don't know. It's funny, too. A lot of you think that I don't lose. You can see my stats on here. I win about 75% of my games, so I lose a fair number of games. So I'm definitely not like some amazing player like a lot of you think I am. I'm just your old average Joe player, trying to bring you all some entertaining videos and give you some tips. So I'm nothing out of the ordinary, I assure you. And I have been soundly defeated many times by many players. So it's not something new to see me lose a game. Now, some of you ask me why I don't post more losses. Well, keep in mind that I'm posting videos for entertainment value, and sometimes, you know, like to give you pointers and tips. I don't really find that losing battles are great from the standpoint of, you know, teaching you a lot sometimes. So it just kind of depends. Like, and I know that some of you all may think that sounds like I'm trying to hide my losses. Well, think what you want. I mean, if you want to see how many games I've lost, you can clearly go see it. I have nothing to hide from that standpoint. But I'm just saying that, I mean, I'm here to entertain people as well, and I have to try and post videos that I think people are going to enjoy watching. So let's think of some fun units to use here. It is on the medium fun setting, which is not really my favorite, but we'll use one of the hero units. Let's use this. Man, I don't know. That hero bow cav unit. I mean, I might be able to dismount them and make them basically into a cheap, well, they wouldn't even be a cheap bow hero. Man, I don't know if I want to use them or not. The enemy player's already readied up, so I'm going to need to go quickly here. I'll just bring a bow samurai. Let's go into the veterans here and pick out a good unit to use. Let's use these sword masters. And I'm going to bring kind of a balanced out army. I'm going to bring a unit of Nagi-Sam. I'm going to bring a unit of warrior monks. Let's see, Nagi-Sam, warrior monks. And I'm going to bring a couple of sword units. That should round out my army just fine. So I got 2018 left. I'll bring this dude. And this dude. Okay, so my army's got a pretty high attack component. I've got a decent cavalry component, a little bit of missiles, and some spears for protection. So my army is a pretty well balanced, albeit small in numbers. I would assume that this player, since he's a lower rank than me, his army is probably going to be larger in numbers. And this is on the Lowlands map. You all have seen me play on this map before. It shouldn't be anything new. Let's see. This map, it kind of depends on where they place the key buildings on how you want to react. Of course, you know, my opponent is not really high in the ranks. That doesn't always mean anything though, so I'm definitely going to be on guard. I've run into some lower ranking players that have basically created a new avatar, but you can tell they've been playing the game for quite some time. So you never want to underestimate a player just by what you see on the rank, or for that matter, overestimate a player based on their rank either. I've played some pretty lousy silver 10 stars and gold 10 stars. So I've learned to not base everything on rank. So let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to use my Naginata Samurai to hopefully soak up some enemy missile fire. They have high... oh, this unit has whistling arrows too. Forgot about that. I'll try and use that. Now, the one thing you want to remember about whistling arrows is that they have a maximum range of 150. So when you put whistling arrows on, do not click the whistle arrow unless you're within 150 range. Otherwise, your bows will have to scoot forward and take losses while they're doing so. Something you should probably be aware of. I'm going to put Patchy back in the back. Put some warrior monks nearby. Warrior monks are handy basically for their war cry, obviously. And I'm going to put these sword units nearby some spears, so that's why I've got them nearby that unit. Let me go ahead and group these guys up. I'm going to capture this morale shrine. This is honestly very unfair to my opponent for me to start with the morale shrine on my side whilst he only gets the workshop and the farmhouse. That's just a random drop the way those work, but it's really unfortunate that it works that way sometimes. Sometimes for you, sometimes against you, and in this case, since I outrank my opponent. Oh, now this is good actually. Some people asked me how to fight cav spam, and that is exactly what my opponent has brought. He's brought a cav spam. So he's got the hero katana cav, some Yari cav, and another couple katana cav along with his general. This is going to be a pretty easy win for me, just because I've got some Yari cav and some heavy spears of my own. So some of you have asked me, what do you do whenever your opponent cav spams? Number one, don't go charging towards him like I am. Back up and put some distance. If I come over here and put myself against this building, it'll force my opponent to have to attack all from one direction, or I'll be able to bottleneck him. Another thing you can do is put your troops into the woods. Cavalry suffer a combat detriment versus infantry when fighting in the woods. My opponent is running all in wedge formation, which will help him penetrate, but it doesn't necessarily help spread out his charge, so he'll get less kills on the charge, even though he'll get more penetration of my troops. Wedge formation's not necessarily super helpful. I'm going to go ahead and back up a little more. I'm going to give my opponent some ground. Like I said, I want to back up and have some of my troops have their sides to this building so that my opponent can't completely flank them. My opponent is coming in for just a straight out charge, so I'm going to go ahead and meet him. And I'm going to leave this sword unit right behind my Nagi unit because they can add some extra attack once the fight has begun. So see, I'm going to soak up the charge with my Naginata unit, and then I'm going to back them up with some high attack units. I'll pull my warrior monks over here, take my Yari cab to stop the incoming charge on this side, and I'll take some swords to back them up as well. So I'm going to pull my general back and keep him alive. I'm going to go ahead and rally my troops here. And then the war cry is not ready on my monk yet, which is great for my opponent. It's unfortunate for me. So you can see here what I tried to do was slow down the charge of the oncoming enemy cav by using my spear units. And at that point, I'll send in my high attack units behind them to try and slow the enemy down. I am getting throttled pretty good in certain vicinities of the battlefield. My Yari cav are getting destroyed. I'm going to really be depending on my Naginata Samurai and my warrior monks. And now that the charge is over, hopefully my swords can clean up some kills too. But if he has katana cav around, which he does, it's going to put me at a great disadvantage. I'm going to bring in my general and inspire my warrior monks, just because they're going to be able to have the most effect. I'm going to drop in to stand and fight now that the battle's going. I've targeted my archers at his general.
Our general is in grave danger, my lord!
The battle should be starting to tilt in my favor at this point. My opponent did what he should as far as hunting me down quickly. The heavy spear units, though, will just be too much for the enemy cav to overcome. Naginata units are extremely strong versus cav, and you can see that the attack and defense of my Naginata monks right now is extraordinarily high. It's going to cause a great deal of damage. The enemy avatar just routs there in the face of my avatar. And here's some of that enemy hero cav over here. It looks like it has second wind, which would indeed make it a powerful unit. And it's taking its toll. You can see they've gotten 86 kills, a lot of those against spears. But I eventually wore him down. So some of you, that's actually funny, some of you requested me to show you how to beat cav spam. I know that this wasn't the exact type of cav spam that was mentioned. Some of you mentioned how do you deal with cav spam that has a lot of bow cav. And of course the number one answer to that would be to get into the woods. You obviously cannot allow the opponent to capture all the key buildings. But that's why you should always bring a solid, at least, like, you know, in the smaller funds like this, you can bring one bow unit. You should always bring a solid bow unit. And if you're in large funds, you should usually bring a couple or a matchlock, something you can use to fight back against the bow cav. Bow cav is quite good, but it requires a lot of micromanagement, and you should always bring some heavy spear units in your army as well. Don't be tricked into thinking that cheap spears like Naginata Attendants or Yari Ashigaru are going to be able to really do what they should be able to do. Their morale is low, and when they get hit by these higher morale cav units in a big blob, they tend to chain route, whereas you saw that my warrior monks and Naginata samurai stood their ground and duked it out that whole time. And if you look, I'm guaranteeing you that they're going to basically be my MVP units in that particular fight. So always bring some heavy spear units, even if it's just one or two. It'll really help you out in the cav spam. When you're facing the cav spam, try and do what I did right there, which is intercept the charges with sacrificial units. So like my Yari cav, my spear units, you intercept the incoming charge with those, and then you apply your sword units after the charge is over, and they will get more kills than had they been charged originally. So that's definitely the way you should deal with it. Players who are good with a cav spam are still going to be hard to beat. And when I say cav spam, there's several different forms of them. A cav spam with several bow cav, a few infantry units, just a few, a bunch of strong spear cav, and a few katana cav, along with a mounted gunner. Those can be very dangerous, because if they're able to take out your bows, they can just tear you to pieces with the mounted gunner. So you do have to be careful with some of those different cav spams. Let's take a look at the unit results. You can see right there my two spear units, like I said, they ended up being the MVP. But notice how many kills this sword unit right here got. 69 kills for a sword unit against nothing but cav is not bad. And it's because I sent them in, like I said, after the charge had been dealt. You can see that even these hero units got pretty torn up. I think they were the ones that were engaged with the katana cav. So they did surprisingly well, to be honest. In any case, let's have one more match and try and use another one of these units. Okay, hopefully this will be a good match, YouTube. I am up against a gold 6-star, so although his general is technically lower ranked than mine as far as abilities go, this means that he's played a great deal more games than I have. So let's go ahead and select an army. He's already readied up, so he's not going to give me any time to really consider what I want to do, but fortunately I kind of already know. So I'm going to go ahead and bring one of my more well-balanced armies. Bring one Naginata, one monk. I'm going to bring a couple of very high attack swords. Got one with 22 and one with 20. And then I've got room for one more infantry unit. So I'll bring one of the new hero units just to show it off. I brought this sword unit before. To be honest, it's probably the unit that I should bring right now too. It's going to be the most useful to me. And it fits the cost just about right, so I'll go ahead and bring it. It's a bit of a risk, especially depending on how good my opponent is. My retainers are set up to nerf his swords and veterans. Mine are set up to boost my swords and my monks. So let's see how it goes. I don't know that I'm familiar with this map. Okay, yes I am. I've just never played it on a traditional samurai army. I've only played it with the new Fall of the Samurai armies. So typically, if I remember right on this map, there's a key building here and here. Trying to think how I can use this terrain with the troops that I have. I definitely would prefer my infantry to be fighting either from at least a neutral terrain standpoint, hopefully for a better terrain standpoint. I do have a unit of bows. My opponent's avatar, I think, costs less, so he could possibly bring more bows than I do. Plus, he's still got access to all of his old veterans, which could put him in a pretty good position. So he's used World Weary on me. He's not used the Fugu Cook, though, which is going to give my swords pretty painfully high attack. If he's using any swords, his are going to be very low, especially if they're veterans. But he may not be using any swords either. I do want to go for the sword dojo. So what I shall do is put my Naginatas up front, of course to shield my archers, and put my archers up here. I need to remember to use the whistling arrows on my archers if at all possible. It can be an effective tool. Make sure those guys aren't overlapping. See if we can hide these guys here. Doesn't look like I can get them hidden there. I'm gonna keep my Nagi monks in the back. Okay, he is using spears, so my Fugu Cook has done nothing. Marathon monks, warrior monks, Yari Ashigaru. Yari Ashigaru I don't understand. He's got some nuns. Matchlock monk unit. There just popped up some hidden units. He's got a monk cab over here, well chevroned with Warcry. Something to be aware of. I'm not overly scared of his army just from the outset. But he could well still have some things hidden. So I'm going to be a little bit cautious. He's got two monk cab over here, one of which has extraordinarily high attack. I'm going to want to steer clear of it. They're definitely going to have an advantage, unless I can get like a downhill charge or win a charge. I do hold the ranged advantage though. My opponent's going to begin capturing this dojo here. I'm going to go ahead and start firing on his monk cab that's dismounted. They'll be easy targets. So I'll make him pay a price for capturing that. He spent a great deal of money on his monk cab. Hopefully my bow samurai can punish these guys pretty good. They should be fairly vulnerable to arrows. Sorry, that's not a monk cab, that's a Yari cab. Okay, he's bringing up his monk cab to face off with me. I'm going to take a superior charge position here on the hill. I do believe my bow samurai have their shots obstructed. I'm going to retrain my fire onto his matchlock warrior monks. I should be able to cut them down relatively quick. My units are kind of bunched up. I don't like my spacing here. My opponent now has pretty high attack on several of his units.
Our general is in grave danger, my lord.
He's taking some shots at my units. Not too overly concerned yet. He's got a Yari cav coming in. I'm going to intercept them with my Nagi samurai. I'm going to start targeting some of his monks with my Actually, I'm going to keep my units closer to my gen. I'm going to keep chasing his horsemen. Going to stand and fight. I'm actually going to stay in this position with my cav. I can help defend. I've got all my spear units in this vicinity that should work to my advantage. I'm going to pull my bows back a little further. His units do have pretty high attack. Hopefully I can swing around one of his flanks and keep his cav busy here. His cav's in a really bad position. They've got heavy spears engaged with them. However, over here I've got my archers engaged in a bad spot too. He's dropped a war cry on me. My hero unit broke him on this flank. He's got some warrior nuns doing quite well right here though.
Our men are
I
running
do believe
from
they
the
will die,
battlefield.
so
Shameful display.
I've also got my archers free. Retarget them onto his general. Hopefully those nuns will break there in a second. That is a really good monk cav unit that my opponent has there. Very good. Okay, he's got a cav attack coming into my rear, but his infantry just dissolved. His cav, he allowed them to become held up for way too long. Here's my hero sword unit going up against his general. They should actually deal him a pretty quick, painful death. My guys have a much higher attack.
My lord, a glorious victory will
So
soon
I
be
think the main
yours.
mistakes there is my opponent allowed his cav to get hung up in a bad position. He should have chosen his fight a little better there. He used his monk units, which were very expensive, and they had pretty good attack, but they're fairly easy for me to counter. His range disadvantage forced him to charge me, and I think left me in better terms to repel his attack. I don't know though, that's just my insight. I don't know what you all think. You can give me your opinion. I mean, he definitely had some pretty high attack units for spears, and a 20 attack monk cav is really high. So I mean, that is a dangerous unit in a cav on cav fight, but I was able to, as you saw, reinforce my men. That's why I always bring some heavy spears. I don't understand what the Yari cav charge was all about at the beginning. If anything, my opponent should have taken the Yari cav to one side, preferably my right flank, and he could have distracted my Nagi samurai to that side, and maybe singled out one of my sword units with that high attack monk cav or something. He could have easily destroyed them if he could have gotten a charge off. So he might should have tried to single out and make a hole in my line where he could get a straight charge of my sword units, because a monk cav with that high of an attack would actually lay waste to one of my sword units. So I'm not sure if he used that unit as well as he could have. And like I said, he let them stay back there in a fight against my Nagi samurai and my Yari cav, where they were just going to get slowed down and damaged badly. Let's check out the unit statistics. My Katana Samurai got a lot of kills, and then my Sword Master unit there got a lot of kills. That was the new one. My Bow Samurai got a fair number of kills, considering how short they were in the fight. Well, he had a Fire Cav in that. I thought that was a Yari Cav. Maybe it was his... Well, he did have a Yari Cav also. So I guess he had a Fire Cav and a Monk Cav. Let's see, Yari Cav, Monk Cav, Fire Cav, yep. And you can see his Fire Cav got a great number of kills. They were obviously a good unit. It's the one that had the high attack. His Marathon Monks did, I guess, okay, but I mean, you can see that they took a whole lot of losses as well. Anyway, good game to my opponent. Hope you all enjoyed these battles. Hey, I have one more battle. It's against a 2-star, which, to be honest, isn't super fair, so I'm going to try and do the deal where you use only hero units and your general. So that's the army that I have set up here. I've got two of the new units. One is a heroine unit, and the other is kind of an odd unit. They use a sword, but they've got a little bit of a bonus versus cav, and they don't have near as high attack as, like, say, the Tetsubo or the Sword Master unit. So this will be interesting. I think it's the Benkai's Blade or whatever it's called. I don't remember the exact name of it. And then the other one is, I don't remember the name of the heroine unit either. I'll show them to you. And then I've also got my Tetsubo Monk hero, which is an old DLC unit that came out with the Rise of the Samurai stuff. So anyway, let's see how this turns out. Patchy's got pretty high attack himself. If my opponent has a lot of bows, though, I do have the very high armored hero units, so I don't know, hopefully I can make it through some bow fire and engage my enemy. I do not have any ranged units, though. I felt like bringing a ranged unit would be a disadvantage to me. See, there's a morale shrine there, a sword dojo up top. I'm going to go ahead and deploy my units. Let's see, this one has 9 armor, these ones have 9 armor, 5 armor. These guys, I think, have the better charge. 25 charge, 16, 25. No special abilities, no special abilities. Wow, these two units got screwed. Neither one of them has any special abilities, and they're pretty expensive. Even the Tetsubo monk has the war cry. I'm going to leave Patchy out here in the center. I'm not sure if my opponent's going to run for the choke point, so that's why I'm starting where I am. If he does run for the choke point, then I'll gladly meet him. That's where my hero units would do best anyway. So, let's see what happens. Looks like he is going to make a run for it. My opponent has Yari Samurai, Lone Swords. He's got a lot of pretty weak infantry, which is going to work to my favor. He's got a Bow Ashigaru, which will not be overly strong versus... Oh, does he have a hidden cav unit? I thought I just saw a unit pop up. I'm going to keep my general over to this side of the fight for now. I don't know if he has a Yari cav or even a light cav hidden. Yep, there we go. 2 light cav. Those guys are extraordinarily dangerous to my general. He's running them around to go after my general. If he does, I'll simply move. I'm probably going to dismount my general as well when I get the chance. It'd make him better versus the, well, I mean, it would make the light cav worse versus him. So I'm actually going to run my general up here and dismount. Just think I'll be better off. I'm going to take my general in with my Tetsubo monk. And I'll leave my, okay, he's commenced archer fire. So the time for charging is now. I'll protect my, well, it's going to be hard to protect from 2 units of light cav with 1 spear unit. And I really need them to be in the fight, to be honest.
Is in grave danger, my lord.
Okay, it looks like he's charging all his light cav right into this heroine unit, which is exactly what I want him to do. My heroine unit will make short work of those guys in a melee. I'm going to inspire my Tetsubo monk. Benkai's Blades is engaged over here. They're up against a lot of enemies. Doing alright so far, but as they start to wear down, it's going to become dangerous. Hopefully I can quickly dispatch his light cav. They are trying to sneak away from me, though, and get a hammer and anvil attack in, which they did succeed in doing. I did not see a great effect on my men, though. I'm going to go support Benkai's Blades with this heroine unit. Looks like my guys are doing good so far. They're all racking up a pretty good number of kills, even Patchy. I do think that I might be able to pull this off. Okay, my Tetsubo monk broke through, and so did Patchy. We're going to engage the enemy avatar. That looks like this is going to work out. My opponent's now running all of his troops into the back of my guys over here. Patchy's starting to take some losses. I'm going to keep Patchy engaged, chase down his bows with my Tetsubo monks. Try and finish off these Yari Samurai. Patchy ought to do pretty well against Yari Samurai. He hasn't gotten like a ton of kills, but he's gotten a pretty good number of kills. These Yari Samurai are holding out better than I thought they would. Oh, these are all Naginata units. Benkai's blades. That would explain why they had the bonus versus cavalry. I thought they were some type of like Nodachi type sword unit. My Tetsubo monks are getting picked apart back here by all the archers. And a lot of my opponent's troops are probably going to start coming back from routing. His general can outrun me. That's going to be problematic. I'm going to take down these lone sword Ashigaru that have come back into the fight. At least tried to. Patchy's horses are still up there, so I may send him to remount. Hopefully the enemy doesn't pick him off. Well, it's going to take him forever to get up there if I tell him to remount, though. I'll run him up there. The enemy troops have really poor morale, which is going to be basically the only thing working in my favor here, because the opponent's general is such a low rank and my guys are heroes. It's definitely going to play against their morale. If I can shatter these bow Ashigaru there, it's going to really turn the tide of this battle into my favor, because the enemy general won't have enough arrows to finish off my guys. Patchy's headed back for his horses. I'm just going to ignore those bow Ashigaru for a moment. I'm going to work on breaking these units here, or shattering them. They've got to be close to it. He is running away from me, which is definitely what he should be doing at the moment. I'm going to try and keep those Yari Ashigaru off my tail. I'm honestly not even worried about these melee units over there. I just don't want those bow Ashigaru to come back from routing. As soon as Patchy gets on his horse, I'll come nail these bow Ashigaru. Okay, all those units are shattered, so I'm just going to let my guys go back to the woods and rest. Alright, Patchy's back on his horse. This should allow me to take down his remaining bows and help me get his general. My opponent did a good job of trying to finish this, but I think that I'll... Or I thought he was back on his horse. No, he's not. I'm going to let my men rest in the woods here.
Our hidden units have been discovered, my lord.
I don't think that his bow Ashigaru will be able to be successful with my units in the woods. Is Patchy really still fresh? That's amazing. He's been fighting this whole time. The guy's a beast. Okay. They're now back on their horses. Yeah, check it out. There must be a glitch in the game. That's Patchy right there, dressed up as Patcher Cogburn. That's pretty hilarious.
Their ally has abandoned them. Now we have them.
Bow Ashigaru don't carry a whole lot of ammunition, so I'm feeling pretty positive. His general's probably not carrying a whole lot of ammunition either. Alright, I'm going to take Patchy around and knock out these bow Ashigaru, and then we'll finish the deed here. Apache should have little trouble taking down Bo Ashigaru. That'll be some easy kills for him. I might even be able to take down the enemy avatar here. He's got a decent attack, though. I'll rally Apache and see if that helps. He's only got 8 men left, but that should make him temporarily pretty powerful. Ha, he did it.
My lord, their general has fallen.
Alright, so we were able to have a hero-only victory there. I've done it before, so I'm not going to get the achievement here. You can actually get an achievement for doing that. I don't know, hopefully you enjoyed these battles. I know it was probably nothing special tonight. To be honest, it was pitting me against quite a bit of low-ranked players. So, I mean, nothing special or fancy on my part there. That gold 6-star probably should have been able to do a little bit better. I'm not saying that to be mean, I'm just saying that he's played more games than me, and I can tell that he probably could have fielded or played a little bit better, but I mean, I have those same kind of matches myself. I'm not perfect. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed these. We'll take a look at the results, and then I'm going to sign off for the night. It's getting pretty late, and I'll be bringing you some more videos in the near future. I'm going to be working on that 20th celebration video, hopefully release it next weekend, sorry. And like I said, hopefully get it out. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to be out of town part of this week, so it probably won't be this weekend. I'll try to make it this weekend, but I can't guarantee it. However, I will be able to probably get you a couple of videos this week. And some of you have been asking where Heir of Reach is at. Of course, you know, I've had a hard enough time keeping up with this channel. I will try and bring back Heir of Reach, though, eventually. You can see the stats there. His men got few kills, obviously because I fielded very few men. And Apache was the lazy one there with only 122 kills. Anyway, good game to my opponents. Hope you all enjoyed it. Like I said, I'll be back with more videos. Heir of Reach will be back eventually, too. I do not have my my HD PVR set up to capture my Xbox footage, which is why I haven't filmed any in a while. But now that I'm moved in, I'll probably go ahead and hook it back up and get set up to do that. Anyway, Heir of Carthage, signing off for now.